Chapter 4. Valta 3. The stars around Valta 3 looked cold. Superman watched them through the cockpit viewport of the stolen Imperial shuttle, arms folded loosely across his chest. Below, the planet rolled slowly, a blue-white marble streaked with cloud bands. A thin ring of icy debris glittered faintly in the starlight. Closer in, the listening post hung against the darkness. It was an ugly thing. Functional. A central cylinder with shielded dishes at each pole. Fixed struts connecting to 3 large sensor arrays that looked like flattened spines. Docking arms extended from the midsection like jutting bones. Small lights flickered along the hull. Not a fortress, but not a soft target either. Transponder is still checking out, Sella said from the co-pilot seat. She tapped the controls, eyes moving in quick patterns over the readouts. No security queries so far. Approach vector locked, Kara added. She sat in the pilot chair, fingers steady on the yoke. Keep your cape tucked in, Superman. Imperial flight controllers do not like surprises. Noted, he said. The shuttle was cramped. Behind the cockpit bulkhead, Tanis, Druve, and Peak sat on fold-down seats along the walls, harnesses clipped. Tanis was checking detonators with the mild frown of someone doing mental math. Druve rumbled impatiently. Peak had his eyes half closed, listening to something on a tiny earpiece. The comm crackled. Lander 751, this is Valtor Listening Post Control, a bored voice said. Transmit clearance code. Sella's fingers danced over the panel. Sending stolen code now, she murmured. Superman listened to the faint heartbeat of the station in the distance. Lazy, unconcerned. No one was expecting trouble. Code received, Control said after a heartbeat. You are late. Engine issue, leaving the freighter. Sella replied smoothly, voice shifting a half-turn into flat Imperial Basic. Had to cycle the motivator twice. There was a pause. Copy that, 751. Proceed to docking arm 3. Welcome to Voltor. The channel closed. Kara let out a slow breath. We are in, she said. You did not even have to punch anything, Peak called from the back. Mission is still young, Superman answered. The shuttle swung toward the station. Up close, Valtor's listening post showed its real scale. The main cylinder was big enough to hold a small city block. The sensor spines radiated floaty menace. Superman could see stormtroopers moving behind viewports, techs drifting through control rooms, officers sipping caf in break rooms. Bored people. That would not last. As the shuttle settled toward docking arm 3, Superman extended his hearing. The station's comms were encrypted in frequencies he did not recognize. The hum of the reactor was familiar in concept, if not in detail. The pattern of footsteps on metal floors mapped a rough picture of the garrison size in his mind. 2 platoons of troopers, he said quietly. Plus officers, techs, droids, rough estimate. Kara did not look surprised, he could tell. You sure? She asked. He nodded. Armor is heavy, they walk like it. Kara adjusted their plan accordingly in her head. All right, she said. We stick to quiet. No alarms if we can help it. Once the data core goes dark, they will scramble, but that gives us a few minutes of confusion. The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud. The shuttle rocked gently, then steadied. A hollow thunk ran through the hull as the airlock at the docking arm sealed and pressurized. Helmets on, Tanis said to the others, pulling on a stolen Imperial officer's cap instead of a helmet. He caught Superman's eye. You sure you do not need one? Superman tapped his ear with a finger. Built-in comms, he said. Built-in oxygen too, for a while. I will be fine. The ram control light blinked green. Kara stood and checked her blaster one last time. Remember the covers, she said. We are an inspection team from Sector Command, here to run a surprise systems audit. We are allowed to be annoying. We are not allowed to get shot. Understood, Captain, Sella said. Peak patted a pocket. Picked the pockets of 3 colonels to get this uniform, he said. I am going to be very unhappy if I get carbon scored in it. They lined up at the ramp. Kara in front, in an Imperial officer's uniform, rank plaque set just shy of the highest the sector was likely to see. Seela in a great tech jumpsuit with a data spike kit on her hip. Tanis in security armor with the helmet under his arm. Peak in the nondescript grey of a logistics clerk. Druve wore a modified work harness and a scowl, playing the role of imported heavy labor. Superman, after some debate, wore a drab cloak over his usual suit, hood up, and a harness with a fake equipment crate slung on one shoulder. "You look ridiculous," Kara had said when he first tried it on. "Ridiculous is better than shot on sight," he had replied. The ramp hissed and lowered. The air that flooded in smelled of recirculated oxygen and industrial cleanser. 2 stormtroopers waited just beyond the threshold, blasters at low ready. Behind them, a young Imperial lieutenant checked a datapad. "Lander 751, the lieutenant said. "Eyes already on the cargo manifest field. You are here with—" He trailed off as he registered Kara's rank badge. "Lieutenant Arix, station security," he said quickly, straightening. "We were not informed of an inspection, sir." "That is why they are called surprise inspections, Lieutenant," Para said in a crisp, harsh Imperial accent she did not use anywhere else. "This facility has been flagged for an audit of its sensor and data retention protocols." Arix swallowed. "We have complied with all directives from Sector Command, sir." "Then you will have nothing to worry about," Kara said. "These are my specialists. Tech, data, security, and one heavy tech." She jerked a thumb at Druve, who rumbled something low and annoyed. Arix's gaze slid briefly past her to Superman. The hood partially shadowed his face, but not all of it. "And the cloaked one?" Arix asked. "Specialist courier," Kara said without missing a beat. "Carrying secure data hardware. You do not need his clearance level." Arix's shoulders hunched almost imperceptibly. The quickest way to make an Imperial officer stop asking questions was to invoke a higher, classified clearance. No one wanted the attention that came with pushing. "Understood, sir," he said. "We will, cooperate fully. I will escort you to the main sensor control and data core." Kara nodded once. "Proceed." They moved into the station. The docking arm was a narrow tube with bulkhead doors every 20 meters. Arix keyed them open in sequence, the stormtroopers clanking behind him. The walls vibrated faintly with the passage of coolant and power. Inside the main hub, they passed through a security checkpoint with a pair of E-web cannons idle in their racks. Tannis's eyes lingered on the cannons just long enough to make Superman file them away mentally as a potential problem. Beyond that, the station opened up into a series of stacked rings. They took a lift upward. Superman watched the levels slide past through the transparent panel. Crew quarters, barracks, mess halls, a small rec center with 2 bored techs playing Dejaric at a table. "Is it just me?" Peake murmured over the private team channel. "Or does everyone look like they want to be anywhere but here?" "Empire posts its ambitious people where they can be seen," Kara replied quietly. "Out here, you get the ones who just want a paycheck in a quiet life. The same ones who will die if this goes loud," Superman added. "Which is why we are keeping it quiet," she said. The lift stopped near the top of the central cylinder. "This is primary sensor control," Arix said, gesturing as the doors opened. "And the data core is 2 decks down, secured." The control room was large, circular, lined with consoles. Holographic displays floated above some stations, showing readouts of ship traffic, subspace noise, hyperspace lane pings. A dozen operators looked up as the inspection party entered. Kara's presence and badge made them snap back to their work quickly. "Who is your senior officer on this deck?" she asked. "That would be Chief Controller Venick, sir," Arix said, pointing to a man at the far console. Slightly paunchy, hair thinning, a cup of cath welded to his hand. Superman's lips twitched. "Any relation?" he asked Kara softly. "Common name," she muttered. They crossed the deck toward Venick. He rose, hastily setting his cup down. "Controller Venick, sir," he said. "We did not receive any advance notice of Sector Command inspection." "I know," Kara said. "That is the point. I want your last 3 months of sensor logs pulled for spot review. Full bandwidth, no filters." 3 months, Venick repeated, blanching a little. "That is a significant data volume, sir. It will take time to aggregate." "You have 30 minutes, Seller cut in, sliding into the role of impatient systems auditor. "I want to see your data pipeline architecture. Any compression or summarization routines you are using, and your encryption schemas." Venick blinked at her, then scrambled to comply. While he flailed at consoles, Kara edged closer, lowering her voice. "Can you access the core from here?" she asked Sella. Not directly, Sella murmured. This room has networked access, but the core's physical housing is 2 decks down, behind a separate security system. I can see metadata. The real storage is isolated. Then that is where we go next, Kara said. She turned to Arix. Lieutenant, you will accompany my security specialist to the data core. We need to confirm that your physical security measures meet sector standards. Tanis gave Arix a thin smile. Of course, sir, Arix said, trying not to show nerves. Power switched to the private channel. Tanis, you and Superman go with him, she said. Dhruv and Pick, stay near Sella. If everything goes smooth, we are in and out. If things go bad, we split objectives. Understood, Tanis said. Dhruv rumbled agreement. Peak just said, copy. Try to avoid punching anything structural, Kara added to Superman. Structural, got it, he said. Erix led them back to the lift, one stormtrooper in tow. The ride down was quiet. You have been at this post long? Superman asked conversationally, keeping his voice mild. Arix glanced up at him, then away. 2 years, he said. Longer than I wanted. Not a lot of excitement, Tanis said. His tone was neutral, but Superman could hear the judgment under it. Imperial pawn. Enemy. That is kind of the point of a listening post, Arix said. If there is excitement, it means something got through we were supposed to catch. Do you believe in what you are doing? Superman asked him. Arix frowned. I believe in order, he said eventually. The Republic was a mess. Someone had to take control. Someone like the Emperor, Tanis said flatly. It is better than pirates running everything, Arix snapped, then shut his mouth, as if remembering who he was talking to. Superman logged that away. This was the kind of man he had seen before. Not cruel for its own sake. Just tired. Frightened of chaos. The lift opened onto a short corridor that ended in a heavy blast door. 2 more stormtroopers stood guard, flanking a control panel with a biometric scanner. This is as far as most people go, Arix said. The core is behind this. He pressed his hand to the scanner. The panel flashed green. The blast door rumbled aside, revealing a small antechamber with another door beyond. As per protocol, Arix said, 1 guard stays outside, 1 inside. The core is not to be left unattended. Imperial Procedure Manual, page 78, Tanis said, nodding. Glad to see you follow it. They stepped through. The inner chamber was colder. The lighting was dimmer, tinted blue. At the center stood a cylindrical column of armored casing, but extended from floor to ceiling. Thick cables ran into it from the walls and ceiling. Consoles ringed the column, their screens full of scrolling code and storage graphs. Superman could feel the faint vibration of spinning data platters deep inside, augmented by solid-state banks humming with stored information. That is a lot of secrets, he said. Arix nodded. Every ship that passes through this sector, every hyperspace distortion, every scrambled rebel transmission fragment we catch, it all comes here. And then where does it go? Superman asked. Arix gestured at one of the consoles. Periodic compressed dumps are transmitted to Sector Command and Coruscant, he said, as per schedule. Tanis gave Superman a tiny signal with his eyes. Time to start. All right, Lieutenant, Tanis said in his best board security voice. We will need to run some tests on your internal failsafes. My tech here is going to interface with the core. Arix frowned. I thought he was a courier. Specialist courier, Tanis said smoothly, means he carries special hardware for tests. You know how it is. Sector wants to make sure you are not vulnerable to slicer infiltration. Arix's frown deepened. We have had no slicer breaches. You want to keep it that way, Tanis said. Stand over by the door, please. This part gets noisy. Superman stepped up to the main console. I am not exactly a slicer, he said quietly, over the team channel. You do not have to be, Sella's voice replied in his ear. I piggybacked a code package into your cloak clasp. Plug it into the console. It will do the initial work. Once it opens a local maintenance port, I can come in from the control room side and finish the data wipe. Superman glanced at his shoulder. The cloak clasp was an innocuous bit of metal shaped like a dull disc. Hidden tech jewelry, he murmured. Bruce would be jealous. He pressed the disk against the console's side panel. A tiny magnetic snap answered. The console screen flickered. Lines of code scrolled. For a moment, an Imperial logo flashed, then was replaced by a bland maintenance interface. "What are you doing?" Arix asked, taking a step forward. Tanis blocked him with a casual shift of his body. "Standard sector diagnostic," Tanis said. "Relax." Superman watched the code scroll, pretending he knew what it meant. In his ear, Sella muttered commentary. "All right, I see the port," she said, punching through. "There. I am in. Start a pseudo-random surface check, so it looks like you are verifying integrity. Underneath, I will inject the corruption routine." "English, Sella," Tanis said softly. "Make it look like you are checking the data," she translated. "While I break it." Superman hit a few keys. A progress bar appeared on the screen, labeled Surface Integrity Scan. "You are sure your routine will not make them suspicious?" he asked. "It will look like a drive fault that snowballs," she said. "By the time they dig into it, we will be gone, and their logs of rubble activity will be scrambled eggs." The progress bar crept up. Arix shifted his weight, watching. "We just had maintenance crews through last month," he said. "There was no mention of a new sector routine." "Maintenance crews miss things," Tanis said. "Sector Command does not like that." Superman could feel the core's vibration change subtly as Sella's code began to chew through the data stacks. It was like listening to termites in a wooden house. Quiet, but persistent. On the control deck above, Sella sat at an auxiliary console, fingers flying. Her screen showed a map of the core's storage sectors, sections going from stable green to flickering yellow and red. "Data core corruption at 12% and rising," she murmured. "Rebel-related logs flagged for accelerated degradation." "Can you save local civilian traffic records?" Kara asked. "Why?" Sella said. "Because those records help people find relatives and shipments," Kara replied. "We want to blind the Empire, not erase half the Quadrant's mail history." Sella snorted. "Fine," she said. "I will thread the needle. But if this takes longer, yell at him." "This is going too smoothly," Peak muttered near the back. He had found a corner to look innocuous in. "I do not like it when things go smoothly." "If you are bored, pick some pockets," Drew rumbled. "I already did," Pick said. "Twice." Down in the core chamber, the progress bar hit 40%. Superman's senses prickled, a faint vibration in the floor, out of sync with the core's hum. "Tanis," he said over the private channel. "We have company." Before Tanis could respond, the outer blast door cycled. It opened to admit another officer, this one older, with the harsh, angular features of a man who took his job very seriously. 2 more stormtroopers flanked him. "Lieutenant Arix," the newcomer said sharply. "Why was I not informed of a sector inspection?" Arix stiffened. "Commander Halden," he said. "They arrived without prior notice. I was about to call you." Kara swore softly in Superman's ear. "Corvex, report." Recon's voice cut in faintly over the long-range link. "We are picking up an energy spike from the station's core." "Working it," Kara murmured. "We have a complication." Tanis turned, posture relaxed but alert. "Commander," he said. "Security Specialist Hal, Sector Command. Your lieutenant was following the correct procedure. You must have missed the bulletin." Holden's eyes flicked to Tanis's rank patch, then to Superman's hooded form, then back. "I do not like surprises in my station," Holden said. "And I like unknown personnel even less. Show me your authorization." He took a step toward the console. Superman's hand hovered near the clasp again, fingers lightly touching the metal. His instincts screamed at him to be ready. Above, Sella's voice was tense. "We are at 61% corruption and climbing," she said. "If we abort now, they might be able to salvage some logs." "We do not abort," Kara said tightly. "We did not come all this way to half-blind them." In the core room, Howden reached for the console. "Commander," Tanis said, stepping between him and the screen. With respect, You may not want to interrupt a sector-level diagnostic halfway through. If we have to restart, it will reflect poorly on your performance metrics. Howden's jaw clenched. Stand aside, he said. The stormtroopers raised their rifles a fraction. Superman exhaled through his nose. Quiet plan, he thought. Kara said quiet. He moved, not fast enough to blur. Just fast enough that the troopers did not have time to aim properly. His hand closed around the nearest blaster and gently twisted. The rifle's barrel bent like soft metal, warping into a useless S-shape. The trooper stared at it, stunned. Superman's other hand caught the second trooper's weapon and pushed it down, finger pressing just hard enough on the trigger guard to bend it into its housing. The trooper yelped, jerking his hand back. Nobody shoot, Superman said calmly. Please. Howden froze. Arix's eyes went wide. He stepped back, bumping into the inner blast door. What are you doing? Howden hissed. Trying very hard, Superman said, to not break anything I cannot fix. One of the troopers reached for the alarm panel on the wall. Superman's eyes flashed. Twin beams of heat lanced out, cutting neatly through the panel's casing. The alarm console sagged, its circuits fried. A thin plume of smoke curled upward. Howden swallowed. Sweat prickled on his forehead. You are not Sector Command, he said. No, Superman agreed. He pulled his hood back. The blue suit, the red cape, the symbol on his chest. In the cramped chamber, they seemed to take up more space than they actually did. My name is Superman, he said. I am with the Rebel Alliance. Eric stared. Rebels are not supposed to say it like that, he blurted. Superman almost laughed. This one does. On the deck above, the control room began to react. Commander Howden is going to trigger a station-wide alert any second, Sella warned. You just outed us in front of the security head. Could not be helped, Tanis said. We were 1 second from blasters going off in a data core. Kara made a decision. Sella, how long until the core is unrecoverable? She asked. Another 60 seconds, Sella said. You bought me a few moments when you fried that alarm panel, but someone is going to notice the glitch. Then we have 60 seconds to decide if we are taking hostages or making converts, Kara said. Down in the core, Howden's hand twitched toward his belt. Superman gently caught his wrist. Please do not. He said. I am trying to get through this without anyone getting hurt. You are a fanatic, Howden spat. The Empire will crush your little rebellion. Superman looked him in the eye. Maybe, he said. But you will not be the one to do it. He pressed lightly, just enough to pop the holdout blaster free of Howden's grip. It clattered to the floor. Eric stared at the weapon, then at Superman, then at Tanis. You are rebels, he said, in an Imperial uniform. Uniforms are easy to steal, Tanis said. Conscience is harder. You will never get off this station, Howden said. We have 2 full platoons of stormtroopers, orbital cannons, a direct line to Sector Command. Lord Vader himself will know about this before you get to your shuttle. And yet, Peake said quietly in Superman's ear, we are already halfway done. Core corruption at 78%, Sella reported. I have isolated civilian transit logs as requested. Empire-related tracking is turning into gibberish. Superman looked at Arix. You do not seem happy here, he said. You said so yourself. Arix swallowed. That does not mean I want to betray my post, he said. His voice shook. Then do not think of it as betrayal, Superman said. Think of it as refusing to keep helping someone who is hurting people. You are here to hurt us. Howden said, No, Superman said. I am here to blind your ability to hurt others. You and your people. I want walking away from this. Maybe a little embarrassed. Maybe reassigned to somewhere less dangerous. He stepped back from Howden, giving him space, but still close enough to intervene. You have a choice, he said. You can hit an alarm, and I will have to spend the next 10 minutes breaking your guns and knocking your people unconscious. Or, you can let us finish our business. Pretend we overpowered you, and tell your superiors that some unknown anomaly hit your data core and messed up your logs. Haldon stared at him like he had grown a second head. You think I would lie to my superiors to protect you, he said. Not to protect me, Superman said. To protect your people. You set off alarms, your station becomes a battlefield. Dozens of your crew could die. If you do not, the Empire loses some data and you get a black mark in a performance file that is probably already too long. There was a long silence. Core corruption at 92%, Seller said. They are starting to see oddities topside. I just saw one of their techs frown at a log feed. Kara? Ryakin's voice crackled in. We are picking up chatterbursts. You need to wrap this up. Kara closed her eyes briefly, then opened them. Superman, she said. We may need an exit that is not through the shuttle bay. 1 second, he said. He locked eyes with Arix again. I cannot tell you what to believe, Superman said. I barely know this galaxy. But I know how this story goes, when people double down on a bad situation out of fear. He thought of officers back home, clinging to Luthor when they knew better. You want order, he said. So do I. The order I want is one where people are not too afraid to do the right thing. Arix's throat worked. Haldon looked between the three of them, jaw tight. This is treason, Haldon said. If anyone finds out I let you go, my family is done. Your family is already at risk under a government that blows up planets, Tannis said. The only question is which side of the line you want to be on when the history files are written. Assuming the Empire allows history to be written. Pick added. The stormtroopers shifted uneasily. They had their rifles, but their grips were loose. The situation did not match their training. Core at 99%, Seller said in Superman's ear. 3, 2, done. Imperial tracking logs for this sector are toast. I am dropping a loop to cover our exfil. On paper, this station will show routine operations and a minor PAL fluctuation. The main console in front of Superman flashed red for an instant, then went back to the fake surface integrity scan, now reading 100%. Diagnostic complete, the screen announced cheerfully. Superman stepped away from the console. It is done, he said aloud. You are blind in this sector for a while. Haldon stared at the screen. He wanted to be angry. Superman could see it. Wanted to rage about rebel sabotage, about honor and duty. Underneath that was something else. Resentment, a tired disgust at paperwork that covered atrocities. This never happened, Haldon said finally, voice low. Arix's head snapped toward him. Sir? You heard me, Lieutenant, Haldon said. A power fluctuation corrupted our core. We ran a diagnostic. Everything checked out. We filed a maintenance request with Sector Command. Our logs are gone. He looked at Superman again. If anyone asks, he said, I will tell them that when the power flickered, I felt a disturbance. A presence. Something that made weapons useless. Then it was gone. The Emperor's psychics will blame a solar flare or a rebel superstition. They will not waste their time on us. Superman studied him. Why? He asked. Haldon looked very tired all of a sudden. You think we do not hear the rumors? He said. About Orderon. About the Death Star. About cities pulled apart because someone looked at Vader wrong. We are not blind, even if we are a listening post. But out here, we have a buffer. We follow orders. We keep our heads down. We retire quietly. Your little stunt makes us vulnerable. So you cover it up, Tannis said. To protect your own? To protect your own? To protect my crew, Haldon snapped. The Empire is going to fall one day. Everyone knows it. You do not build this much fear without it turning on you eventually. My job is to get as many of my people to that day alive as I can. Superman nodded slowly. That, he said, I understand. Tennis looked like he wanted to argue. Pick's eyes were narrowed, calculating. Droove rumbled disapproval in the background, but did not move. Then we have an understanding, Superman said. We get off your station. You pretend we were never here. Do not get sentimental, Howden said. If the Empire does come, if Vader walks onto this deck, I will tell him nothing. Not to spare you, but because I prefer breathing. Whatever the motive, Superman said, we will take it. He turned to Arix. You can come with us, he said quietly, if you want. Arix flinched. His eyes darted to Haldon, to the troopers, to the blinking consoles. He began. Haldon cut him off. You are not built for this, Lieutenant, he said, not unkindly. You would not last a week in open rebellion. Stay. File reports. Fix sensor arrays. That is how you make it through. Arix looked torn. In the end, he stepped back from Superman. I am sorry, he said. Do not be, Superman said. Just remember this day when things change. He looked at Howden. We will need a way out that does not involve the shuttle bay, in case someone up top starts asking questions. Howden hesitated, then tapped a console. A schematic of the station came up. He highlighted a maintenance shaft that ran along one of the sensor spines. This conduit leads to an external service hatch, he said. Big enough for a droid or a very stupid human. Your friend may be able to widen it. Tennis snorted. You have no idea. Held keyed a command. I am triggering a localized power fluctuation in that section, he said. It will mask your egress from standard sensors. Go, and get off my station. One last thing, Superman said. If the Empire ever decides you are expendable, and you need a way out, find someone who knows how to reach the rebellion. Tell them Superman owes you a favor. Howden shook his head. You are assuming I plan to live that long, he said. Go. They went. Back in the control room, Kara watched status lights flicker as Sealer's code, loop, settled into place. Diagnostic complete, Vanek said, nervously, reading off his console. Core integrity is nominal, but I am seeing some oddities in file structure. File a maintenance ticket, Kara said briskly. Sector will send a tech team in a month or two. In the meantime, log it as a low priority. You are a listening post, Controller, not a data archive. Yes, sir, Vanek said, half relieved. In her ear, Tanis reported. We are heading for the spine conduit, he said. Haldon gave us a path. Surprising. Not entirely, Superman added. He is tired of being complicit, even if he will not admit it out loud. Save psychoanalysis for later, Kara said. We have to get clear before someone calls Coruscant about their glitch. She gave Vanek one last thin smile. Keep your ears open, Controller, she said. Sector Command depends on posts like this. They left the control room at a measured pace, then picked up speed once they were out of sight. Droove led the way to the maintenance junction, his bulk making crew members step aside quickly. Pick trailed, dropping tiny data scramblers in corners and junction boxes, with the casual flick of a wrist. At the maintenance hatch, Superman put his shoulder against the panel. You sure this is the best route? He asked. Better than running a gauntlet of docking bay troopers, Kara said. You can handle a little crawl space. He pushed. The hatch crumpled inward with a screech. Behind it, a narrow tube stretched into the wall, cables snaking along its sides. 2 at a time, Tanis said. Pick, you first. Smallest, least likely to get stuck. Peak muttered something rude and disappeared into the tube. Sella followed, grumbling. Groove stuffed himself in after her, fur catching on wires. Kara looked at Superman. You and I take the outside, she said. Once the rest are in the hatch, you take me, and leap. Leap, he repeated. She jerked her chin toward the hull. You can survive vacuum and move fast, she said. I saw what you did to those fighters. You can get us from here to wherever the Redemption's pickup point is, long before the Empire can line up a shot. He considered. I can do it, he said. But you will not like the experience. Story of my life, she said. Let us go. They waited until Tanis wriggled into the tube behind Druve, sealing the hatch loosely behind him to delay discovery. Then Kara keyed open a small external service door. Beyond it was space. No force field, no shield, just the void. Baltor 3's curve glowed below, half lit by the local star. The listening post's sensor spine jutted out, studded with antennae. Kara's breath caught for a moment at the sudden sense of openness. Ships had windows, but stepping into vacuum was different. You sure about this? Superman asked. Absolutely not, she said. Do it anyway. He stepped through the hatch. The artificial gravity of the station let go of him. Drifting in freefall, he reached back and gathered Kara gently in his arms. Deep breath, he said. You will not need it, but it helps. She obeyed. Then he kicked off the hull. They shot away from the station like a fired round. For Kara, the world went silent. No engine hum, no deck vibrations. Just the sound of her own pulse in her ears and the faint buzz of her helmet comm. Stars wheeled around them. The station shrank rapidly, sensor spines and docking arms dropping away. The blue-white disk of Baltor 3 loomed larger. Wind was something from atmosphere. There was none here. Yet she felt a ghost of it, a pressure against her faceplate that existed only in her mind. Superman flew. He did not flap. He did not thrust with jets. He simply oriented himself and moved, accelerating smoothly. His cape trailed behind him, like a flag that did not know there was no air to ripple through. This is disorienting, Kara said, gratefully, on the private channel. Try not to think about the fact that there is nothing between you and the ground but me, he said. You are not helping. Look at the stars, he suggested. It helps, she did. For a brief moment, amid the adrenaline and fear, Kara Venn felt something she had not felt in years. Wonder. The galaxy was so big. Out here, away from consoles and cramped bunks and endless reports, it was impossible to ignore. Stars in every direction. Worlds below. A man who could fly without a ship. How are the others doing? She asked, when she could breathe again. In the conduit, Tanis grunted. Pick is complaining. Druve is pretending not to enjoy the tight squeeze. We are nearing the pickup vector, Ryakin's voice came over the long-range channel. We have you on passive sensors, Captain. And we have an incoming ping from the station. Looks like a routine maintenance report. No alarms. Data corruption appears as a glitch, not a strike, Sella said. Looks like Halden kept his word. Interesting. Ryakin murmured. On the other side of the system, the Imperial listening post ran its relay schedule. Logs tried to push to Sector Command. Fragmented data crashed into transmission errors. A tech frowned at his screen and filed a glitch report. Holden signed off on it with a tired hand. In his private quarters later, he would sit at his desk and stare at a small hollow of a family on Corellia. He would think about the man in blue and red who had given him a way to survive without pulling a trigger. For now, he just did his job. Superman slowed as the Redemption's disguised pickup craft came into view. It was a modified freighter with heat baffles extended, running on low power to look like debris. Its cargo ramp was already open, a faint glow spilling out. Brace. Superman said, docking in 3, 2. He angled them carefully and slipped through the ramp threshold. Gravity reasserted itself as the freighter's internal fields took hold. Kara's boots hit the deck with a jolt. Superman landed lightly beside her. The ramp closed. Everyone in one piece? Ryakin's voice asked over the local intercom. Tanis emerged from a side access hatch, hauling himself out of the conduit with a grunt. Teak popped out behind him, brushing dust off his cloak. Druve squeezed through next, fur sticking out at odd angles. Then Sella, who looked like she was reconsidering all her life choices that had led to crawling through station guts. Present and accounted for, Kara said, tugging her helmet off. Her hair stuck to her forehead. Baltor 3's logs are toast, Sella said. Civilian traffic preserved. Imperial tracking ruined. They will have to rebuild their data stores from scratch. Station did not raise an alarm, Tanner said it. Their commander decided he liked breathing more than reporting. Then the mission is a success, Riken said. And we have learned something important. What is that? Kara asked. That the presence of Superman can tilt not just battles, Riken said, but decisions. That matters. Superman stood near the ramp, cape settling around him. Eyes unfocused for a second as he listened outward, making sure no hidden surprises lurked. He heard only routine. Valtora's quiet, he said. For now. Kara looked at him. You did good, she said. You could have torn that station apart. Instead, you gave them a chance to walk away. Some of them took it, he said. Some did not. That will have to be enough. It usually is, she said. The freighter's engines rumbled to life. As they lifted away, Valtor 3 shrank behind them. The listening post became a speck against the planet's curve, then vanished into the starfield. On the bridge of the Judicator, an officer frowned at a delayed maintenance report from Valtor. Minor data corruption, he said to the captain. Local glitch. I flagged it as a low priority. The captain nodded. Log it, he said. Lord Vader wants us closer to the core lanes. The report filed away under minor incidents. No one tied it, yet, to the growing holes in the Empire's grip on that sector. Back on the Redemption, hours later, Mon Mothma listened to Kara's mission debrief, then turned to Superman. You kept your vow, she said. Minimal casualties, maximum disruption. It was not elegant, he said, but it worked. You will find that describes much of our war, she said. We will debrief more tomorrow. For now, rest. You have earned it. He nodded, fatigue finally pulling at his shoulders. Even Kryptonians could feel the weight of constant decisions. On his way back to his quarters, he found Luke waiting in the corridor, leaning against a bulkhead. So, Luke said, how was your first rebel op? Cramped, Superman said. Confusing. Full of people with too many blasters. In other words, familiar. Luke smiled faintly. You did not kill anyone, he said. That is going to rattle some of our tacticians. They will get used to it, Superman said. Or they will keep me far away from the bloody parts of this war. Luke's face grew more serious. You know that will not always be possible, he said. Sometimes there is no clean line. I know, Superman said. I have wore that line before. All I can do is keep choosing. Luke studied him. The force still ripples around you, he said. Whatever you are, you have changed something by being here. Superman leaned his head back against the wall for a moment, eyes closing. I did not ask to come here, he said. But since I am here, I am going to make it count. Luke nodded slowly. Then, we will make it count together, he said. Far away, on Coruscant, in a darkened throne room, the Emperor opened his eyes. For a moment, his yellow gaze turned upward, as if he could see through the metal and stone to the stars beyond. A new piece on the board, he murmured. How interesting. He smiled, thin and cruel. Let us see, he said, if this Superman will break like a man or bend like a tool. In the quiet of his small cabin, Superman lay on the bunk, staring at the ceiling. His ears caught the distant hum of the hyperdrive as the Redemption slipped into another jump. He thought of Krypton, of Earth, of Valtor, of Arix and Holden, of Kara and Luke and Mon Mothma. So many worlds, one man. He closed his eyes. Sleep came slowly, wrapped in the knowledge that somewhere out there, a black mask was turning his way. Tomorrow, he knew, the rebellion would have more questions, and the Empire would begin to move.